Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 30 of Press YYZ, your one-stop shop for all your Canadian video game-related news and hijinks. We are live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern over at that there twitch.tv/PressYYZ, where we'd love to have you, as well as over on every podcast service under the sun that you can think of where you can get our show. If we're not there, let us know. We'll fix it for you real quick. I'm your host for the evening, Mr. Mitch George, joined today by the backbone, Alexander Kozina, a.k.a. Cozy.
Said Kozina really weird there, Mitch.
I don't word well. The phenomenal Nathan McInerney.
Yo, what's going on? Glad to be back.
The multicolored Alex Ballant.
Woo-wee, let's do this, boys. I'm ready. I'm sauced up. Let's go.
And finally, our thumbnail thespian, AJ Fraser.
You really hurt me this week, but the calling it out really helped. So
I'm sorry. I forgot those were there because they're new. If you guys haven't seen, AJ's put together some bomb, straight fire thumbnails for stuff that doesn't get posted anywhere, which is awesome because I can just use it on Twitter to promote stuff. And I totally forgot using an Avengers GIF instead because the Avengers is awesome. And I will not do that in the future.
Your bias was very much showing in that last tweet.
Yeah. And so I have
the
to...
Avengers beta.
Wait, hold on, everybody. I want everybody to stop talking for just a second. Hey, Andy, who's my father. Just want to let you know that you're currently live on Press YYZ. So if you want to keep making as much noise as you're making right now, keep making as much noise as you're making right now. Thank you.
So Cozy's going to be on the street for the next episode of Press YYZ.
The internet is cut off.
Avengers. Let me talk more about the Avengers. Because AJ, you got a chance to play the Avengers beta for the first time.
I did get a chance to play it. It's fine.
Oh.
You're telling me you haven't been
That's what I get. It's
buying
fine.
Okay, so if it weren't for the Spider-Man thing, I probably would have just been like 100%. Yeah, I'll get this game and play with you guys because it was fun enough that as long as there's a good group there, you can there's plenty of ways to have fun and do that. But the Spider-Man thing just still kind of gets to me. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. As a video game, I think it's fine. I don't think it's mind-blowing by any stretch. I personally think it would have been better as a solo narrative experience, maybe where you're jumping back and forth between the characters and stuff like that, building each one up for like a final showdown or something or whatever. But the addition of having your friends there and stuff like that is good. I don't know if the Destiny style is good. Also, can we talk about that Destiny style menu that every single game keeps trying to do? It's awful.
Except for the Avengers does it a lot worse because it doesn't load and it takes forever to get through your menus. Where like I've been playing Destiny recently and oh my god, it's so smooth in that game. Where like Avengers, it's just super clunky. And I really hope that's one of the first, like the UI in general is one of the first things that I hope that they revamp because it's not good.
I don't know if I talked about this last time, but that was actually one of my disappointments from the Avengers beta is that the menus are a little too complicated for what they need to be, at least right now. Obviously, there are so many different things to upgrade, so many different ways to level up your character's attributes and make them battle ready. But like, I hope that in the same way that Marvel's Avengers story was way more simplified than what we typically experience in most other games as a service games, that its menu would proportionally be similar, but doesn't seem to be the case right now, and that's pretty disappointing to me.
When I was using it, it seemed like you could use the D-pad and everything and kind of navigate through the menu, but it would get hung up on stuff when you try to do that. And then when you like, especially in like your gear menu, as you're trying to like break down gear for component parts and stuff like that, so you can power up your best piece of gear or something like that. It definitely, it was definitely lacking there. in that the cursor wouldn't exactly go where you wanted it to, and it just does not feel good. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's hard to judge it because it is a beta, but it's coming out so close to the beta that I think any gripes you have with it today are going to be growing pains that they're going to be dealing with for the next few months, year and a half, who knows.
Aside from technical hiccups, those things are going to be in the game 100%. And so they'll have to go ahead.
No, just even the technical stuff I think is still going to be pretty baked into the game, at least until this game gets like to be on better hardware. Because I said it last week, the PS4, man, that thing is on its last legs, and this is a game that is really pushing it to its limit. And it'll be a great game to play on PS5. For now, we're just going to kind of have to suffer through it on PS4.
I have to use headphones playing that game, otherwise I can't hear the game.
Yeah,
Nathan, you're back.
I'm back.
Where'd you go? What happened? We needed you.
Well, I was at the cottage for a week, which was nice. I disconnected pretty much from video games almost the entire week while I was gone. Caught up on some reading. Went through all 144 issues of Invincible, the comic book, which was really fun. And I'm mostly caught up on all the Power Rangers comics, which are pretty excellent. So that was my time at the cottage.
Have you read the Justice League Power Rangers crossover?
No, it's on my wife's tablet for me to read.
It's real good. I've got the book behind me. It's really good.
Nice.
So that's awesome. But the whole time you were away, you were lamenting on Twitter one fact, and that was the fact that you weren't playing Fall Guys.
Yeah,
I'm
back.
You've been playing Fall Guys.
I've been playing Fall Guys. It turns out Fall Guys, I'm still good. I'm serviceable. But it's an excellent game.
Yeah,
How many wins have you gotten?
Got a win, so
I had 3 wins before I left on the Thursday, and I left on the Friday. And when I came back on the Monday, I got another 6 wins, and I got 1 last night. I didn't get as much time to play yesterday. Well, I think Mitch and I are talking about starting a pro team, actually. So
it's going to happen because 2 of those wins you got, it was just you and me playing, and you got 2 wins, and I got 2 wins, and it was only like an hour. We played maybe 10 games and got 4 wins. Like, we're next level. Come on.
Yeah, we're both pretty excellent at this. I think we have a good eye for it. I was listening to the podcast actually today from last week, and there were some naysayers about this being game of the year, but I could see this ending up on a lot of, maybe not the game of the year, but on a lot of game of the year lists for what it's doing.
What was the award show last year that awarded Game of the Year to Untitled Goose Game?
It was DICE.
I can see something like DICE awarding this game Game of the Year, but not like Jeff Keighley's Game of the Year awards will give it to Final Fantasy or The Last of Us or something more of that nature.
Yeah, I could see some individual sites doing that too.
Yeah.
It's going to be in the conversation. I don't know how many wins it'll get, but it's going to be... It is a game of the moment the same way that we got Animal Crossing in March. So just the way that this year has gone, for whatever reason, they made great decisions, and Fall Guys is literally everywhere. You've got KFC, Walmart, Ninja. Everyone's trying to get in on this.
The Tatman got his first win today.
Yes, it was such a big deal.
I actually earlier today I was watching F1 driver Lando Norris just stream the game, and everybody, it's the thing everybody's playing right now.
Yeah,
not to mention it's got a new talk show coming out.
Yeah, I really can't wait to see what that actually looks like, because with Animal Crossing it felt like it made sense, but like how does it work in Fall Guys? I'm really curious to see what Gary Wood is doing.
Well, he talked about it on Games Daily today, but essentially it's just going to be them playing the games while trying to do an interview at the same time. And
that sounds like chaos fun.
Yeah, like that's what I imagined it being, and I'm like, there's no way this could be bad, especially if somebody starts swearing because they missed a jump or they got killed.
It's gonna happen. Like we were hanging out with a friend of the show last night, Nathan, you and I. Nate plays games on his stream, and I repeatedly dropped expletives, which I regret and immediately apologize. But there's no holding it back in a game like that.
Oh yeah, it's it really unfilters you in a lot of ways.
Really quick, when Halo Infinite comes out, do you think Gary Whitta is going to try and do a talk show in that? similar
He
to
should
like
just do a talk show in every multiplayer game that comes out.
Somebody had
I
said
think so.
he should do a talk show called Assassin's Creed Talkalla.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing is that I feel like there's not like a real good pun that you can make out of Halo Infinite in the same way that you can make out of Fall Guys.
Infinite talking.
But how many other games have infinite in their title? Like, I feel like the view show called Infinite Talking. It's like there are 17 different games that could refer
Is
to.
there?
So while I can't wait to see what Talk Avengers Assemble looks like, I have been playing a game this week for review actually called Banner of the Maid. It's a strategy RPG, isometric, in the kin of Final Fantasy Tactics. It's from a rookie developer out of China, and the game's pretty good. It's very anime, if you're into, anime proportions, and we'll leave it at that. The art style is great. The gameplay it doesn't break any conventions when it comes to strategy RPGs. And the localization is just bad. I could not get into the story at all because the localization is just. I found myself at times just wanting to skip the dialogue, which you can if that's your cup of tea. If you're into strategy RPGs and you're looking for something, it's fine. But
because I'm looking at the gameplay now, and it feels like it's very like off-brand Fire Emblem.
Yep.
How does it compare to Fire Emblem?
It's off-brand Fire Emblem.
Fair enough.
It's very much like Fire Emblem Advanced Wars style of each of your units is actually X number of units with their own HP, and you go into the 1v1 combat, they take away a little HP. Certain situations you can get into, like using terrain for cover, or certain situations get into where your units will take 2 attacks in the same turn, like things like that. But it's a relatively standard SRPG with great visuals, really great pixel art style in the combat scenarios, and all the anime style graphics are great, but it just didn't do anything particularly revolutionary. Ironic for a game set in the French Revolution. So it is what it is. But Alex, you've been playing a game that I couldn't shut up about for a while.
I have.
That's Ghost of Tsushima?
So I got Ghost of Tsushima at release, and I just couldn't get into it. I was very burned out of games right around that time, because at that time I had just finished The Last of Us Part 2, got the platinum with it, and I finished Persona 5 Royal, and I platinumed that, and then I was moving. So it was really hard to invest myself in anything. And I don't know, this week I just finally managed to just turn on Ghost of Tsushima. I went from like the end of Act 1 all the way to like halfway through Act 3 now, I would assume. I don't know specifically, but like I made a decent amount of progression, and I've been doing all the open world stuff. One thing I will say about that game, it's fun as fuck. I love the combat in it, specifically the way that they do stances, where it's like, oh, this enemy has a shield, I need to switch to I think it's water stance, and I have to then like fight the guy with the shield using that stance. And then, oh, this guy has a sword, so I need to switch back to the sword stance and like fight him. And then this guy is like a big brute guy, and I need to switch to that. I love that. I love that there's a lot of like, it's very methodical in the way that you do combat. One of the biggest things is, so no spoilers to the story, but it really feels like it doesn't adopt the stealth until the third act. Like, and there's a lot of story reasons to it, but I just kind of like, I was kind of going into this game of like, I want to be a ghost, like no pun intended, but I want to be the ghost of Tsushima. And you really don't get to feel like that until the third act for story reasons. But I kind of wish that they maybe sped that up a little bit. But I totally get why, though. So I don't know. I'm a little conflicted about it, but I think it's a fun game.
So we're not really going to get into it later, but we did get news this week that they're coming out with a multiplayer mode in the fall, which is just...
Yeah, that's crazy.
I would have thought multiplayer for this game, but
I know.
Honestly, if that does more of like the ghosty, like they said, there's like some fantasy elements to it and everything. If it dives deeper into like being a ghost as opposed to being a samurai, we're going to have a ton of fun playing that.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I can say for sure I'm excited to play that mode now.
For sure.
That reminds me a lot of the multiplayer mode in Uncharted 4, where your characters could perform what they refer to as mysticals to make up for the fact that Uncharted 4's single-player campaign didn't have like a whole lot of mystical, supernatural stuff in it.
AJ, you were saying?
No, I have a next generation. We were both had something to say at the same time. It's fine.
More
next
often than not on this show.
Like right there.
Wait, can I interrupt one more time?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, what was that, Cozy? I was trying to say something too.
Wait, hold on. Could you just hold off for just a second?
I think Nathan might be my favorite member of the podcast today.
Wait, hold on. Alex, do you have something that you want to say?
I'm an Alex. Anyway,
okay, go ahead, AJ, please.
I have a next generation prediction. Skyrim is going to release again with similar multiplayer support. You can go around with a buddy.
I mean, there are mods for multiplayer Skyrim, so I wouldn't be surprised if
they come out again.
Bethesda needs to do something to justify, because they're going to sell the game again, no doubt. They need to do something to differentiate it from just regular special edition Skyrim.
They need something to fill the void for Deathloop's delay, right?
Or just, Elder Scrolls 6, which isn't going to come out for the next 8 years.
Well, won't we see Starfield before Elder Scrolls 6?
Yep.
Exactly. That's why it's going to take that much longer.
Cozy.
Yeah.
You've been playing more Apex.
I have. So, I want to preface this by saying, everybody back in the day used to facepalm on this show when I used to bring up Apex. I feel like it's been long enough that I've brought up this game, so I'm hoping that you all forgive me bringing up this one last time. For now, that is.
Cozy.
Yeah.
Cozy. What have I talked about for the last, month? On every show.
Animal Crossing.
I talk about Halo every week.
Fall Guys.
Alex talks about Halo. I talk about
Marvel's
Fall Guys /Avengers. It is okay if you want to talk about Apex on every goddamn show we record.
Oh, all right. Well, in that case, let's get right into it. So yeah, Season 5 of Apex Legends just launched. There's a new hero called Rampart. I believe that's correct. I haven't really played as her a whole lot.
Season 5 or Season 6? You have Season 6 in the doc. Okay.
Season 6. I'm pretty sure I said Season 6, by the way. Are you sure that your memory's not befuddled?
You said 5.
All right, well.
You 100%
To be fair, that's 2 out of 5 people. We don't have majority yet. Anyways, Season 6, which I'm pretty sure is what I said the first time, is here. There's a new hero called Rampart, which you can see right here. She's a British Indian. She has a turret that she can set up and shielding as well. I played the game competitively for a little bit, and whether I'm playing on a same team as her, or am fighting a team that has her, she's changed up the game pretty significantly. The addition of her turrets and shielding change up the flow of encounters pretty dramatically. On top of that, there have been some interesting changes to the meta as well that have just in general changed the way that you kind of go about approaching encounters in general. So for example, previously in the game, you had just normal shields that you could collect, and it's like, all right, this is a low tier shield that only offers 50 plus HP. This is a mid tier shield that offers 75 HP. Now you have a high tier shield that offers 100 plus HP. Now all the shields in the game are Evo shields, which previously was like an optional shield that you could get that would start you at 25 HP, and by damaging more and more people in the game would gradually evolve and level up and allow you to eventually have plus 125 HP. Now all shields basically are like that in the game. It's just some shields start at like certain levels of pre-evolvedness. And basically it was one of those changes that was pretty much done in an effort to encourage people to be more combative and, offensive when encountering other squads so far. And it's a brave new world of Apex Legends, and I'm looking forward to playing more of it as things progress. Also, they added in a little story mode involving the new hero Rampart, and they actually have an animated comic book this time around to tell the story with, as opposed to last time where it was all entirely text during kind of Loba's mission in Season 5. So that's real good. I'm sorry if all this is super confusing to you guys, by the way, but to those of you out there who play Apex,
I'm happy that you're happy, Cozy.
This is all real cool.
Yeah,
is this a good place for somebody who played it at the launch to jump back into it?
I mean, I'd say yeah. like, here's the thing. There's definitely more going on in the game now than there was at launch. Like, this is not, I would not classify this update as a back to basics update, as a, like, let's go and simplify things update. It is not that. But the game, like, from a competitive standpoint, feels fresher than ever. I feel like the range of heroes to choose from is pretty diverse at this point. I think that I'd say that, yeah, now is a good time than ever to get into it. And I'd say that because it's, as a game, feeling better than ever before. But if you were asking that because you were hoping, oh, is it easier to kind of get into, easier to figure out, simpler than before, I would say no. So apologies if you were hoping for that.
Yeah, for me, I think with Apex, like, unless I'm going in there like on a game night with friends or something like that, I think at this point would probably wait until like an Apex 2 where they probably come out with, like, the base game has all of these characters already in it, so I don't have to pay and unlock them all, and then, or like whatever update in the future happens where that sort of thing, you know.
Did you or anyone else here in this podcast ever play Titanfall, or, well, specifically, I was asking more Titanfall 2's multiplayer mode?
Yes.
Not the multiplayer. I played the single player and loved it.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to bring that up because data miners have found evidence to suggest that in the future they're going to be more heavily tying together the world of Apex with Titanfall, that there might even be like
I hope
player versus Titan encounters or something to that effect.
Please.
And it's one of those things where, like, I think if you like what I'm saying right now doesn't sound super appealing to you, maybe wait until they start doing the Apex Legends Titanfall crossover stuff, which I have no clue when that's going to happen, but it's probably going to be sooner than later.
Cool.
Speaking of sooner rather than later, AJ, you've been playing Flight Simulator.
Yeah, on this 4-year-old gaming laptop that I have, that I got a as soon as I tried to launch the game, I got a pop-up window that said, "Hey, you don't meet the minimum specs for this. You may have a bad experience or something like that. Something's gonna break, or you're gonna burn your house down or some shit." That didn't happen. Like, I booted up the game and it started everything on low settings, as it predicted it probably wanted to. But I was just like, no, I want to see what happens. So I cranked it up to high. I didn't go to ultra, just to high. And it still works. Now, I'm using a gamepad, so I'm not touching my computer, which while it's running, it gets very hot. I do have like a laptop fan underneath it with like 4 fans on it also blowing. So that kind of helped. But yeah, Flight Simulator is actually pretty good, pretty interesting. Like it doesn't look bad. I flew over my house. I flew from like the north end of Yonge Street all the way down into Toronto. And then I went out to California. Yeah, I went all the way down to California, where my dad lives, and then I tried to do a flight from like Tokyo to somewhere else in Japan, and just playing around with it like that. The initial load of the game, loading into the game, takes a long time, but if you are just like resetting your flight or something like that, it takes like no time at all. And that's not even installed on my SSD. That's on my regular ass hard drive. So whatever the cloud stuff they're doing in the background to kind of help with building the world, I think it's helping with that in some capacity.
Yeah, it's really cool. This game uses Azure, which is Microsoft's like cloud-based computing.
Cloud, man.
Yeah, and like the fact that
ripping fat clouds.
I've heard that this game is immensely detailed, even in like the distance, because of that technology, which usually like you wouldn't want your computer to render that type of stuff out in the distance, because like why would you want to be able to see that detail? But I'm very, very excited to play it. Since you've been playing it, how easy is it to sort of get into it and get flying? Because I've never played a flight simulator game.
Okay, so I'm just using a gamepad, just like my Xbox Elite controller, and it can be a little finicky in terms of movements. The slightest tap on the joystick is gonna kind of send your plane flying around, but you can adjust for that. It's when you load into a map at an airport, you have to press two buttons to take. This is with the settings set to easy, not like full simulation realistic or anything like that. Because otherwise you'd have to like use a mouse and like click on all the buttons and knobs in your cockpit and stuff like that, and that would not work properly. But with the gamepad, it's actually fine. There's a challenge mode actually right now where they're gonna. It doesn't seem to be weekly. I think it's every 2 weeks they're gonna reset it for a new challenge. And it starts you off flying in like the French Alps somewhere, and you just have to make a kind of a right-hand turn and just slowly try and land it on this one spot, right? And you have to try and make sure all the numbers are in the right spot for like the perfect landing and try and get the highest score possible. I didn't get the highest score possible, but I'm like in the world of everybody playing Flight Simulator, I got like 20,000 something, which not that bad, and that's just using a gamepad. So
yeah, I'm very, very excited to play it. One of the biggest, I downloaded it last night, but one of the problems that I was running into is the Xbox app on PC is terrible for Game Pass, because for some reason I can't use it to download. I can only download it to the hard drive I installed the app to, and because Windows is on my SSD, which is way smaller than my normal hard drive, it's stuck to that. And so the thing is with Flight Simulator, I wouldn't have been able to have downloaded it unless you told me about this little thing about it. You have to have the amount needed, which is like 127 gigs. You have to have that readily available. You download about a gig, and then that's just like the launcher and stuff. And so then it tells you like, okay, we need to download an extra 96 gigs worth of stuff. Where would you like to download that? You can actually choose your directory. And so I got to install it to like my big like 4 terabyte hard drive. And so I was good in that sense, but man, Xbox, like Microsoft really needs to work on the Game Pass app, because it is very buggy and very not good. Like, well, for as great as that service is, it's not a good app.
They did just announce like today, like all the changes coming to like they're unifying platform services and stuff like that.
UI
so that should
refresh and everything.
Yeah, the whole UI refresh for all their devices. So that should hopefully help that out. I'm not sure.
I hope so.
How's it scoring on OpenCritic?
Real good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know, Nathan. We know. I cannot wait, honestly, to bust this thing out on my new gaming PC that I need to build soon. Because as of today, all of the parts are
like a robot. The way that you were pronouncing all
that. Was good. Did you actually escape from that computer in the thumbnail that I made for that episode?
Hardy friggin' hard, guys. No, everything's here, so I'm ready to go whenever we want to get this build stream put together. I'm actually busy the next couple of weeks.
Can you travel to
September?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to ask quickly, can you travel to the skies above North Korea in Flight Simulator?
You can go to Epstein's Island. You can go anywhere.
It looks like our stream went down.
No. I don't.
Did it?
It's not down for me.
No, I see it.
No, it's not down for me.
Okay.
It looks like there's a network error, so something might happen to me, so...
Yeah, just
that happens occasionally. Just refresh it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Alex has to cut all that out.
Well, so I asked a North Korea question more in terms of like so you can go over it, but like, is it as detailed as the rest of the game? Like,
imagine so, because it's all based on satellite data, right?
Yeah. What they did is they took the satellite data and used a computer algorithm to build fake buildings. So like some of the landmarks and stuff, like in Toronto, Ripley's Aquarium, you can read Ripley's Aquarium on top of it. The CN Tower and all those big landmarks. The Fairmont looks like the Fairmont. The big main ones look normal, but like in my hometown, just north of Toronto, the local Walmart looks like a warehouse building, and it doesn't look like a Walmart. So they just used some sort of generic based off the roofs, made some geometry and stuff like that, and yeah,
it's very, very cool technology that for some reason they put in Crackdown, or they were going to put in Crackdown 3, but
it wasn't in Crackdown. I thought it was in Crackdown 3. That's why it was so good.
Yeah, the multiplayer side.
Oh,
no, didn't they scrap a bunch of that though because it was taking too long? It doesn't matter.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
Does anyone else have anything they've been up to that they really want to talk about, or can we get into the rest of the show?
I have one thing.
Another.
I have.
All right, we got 2 things left, and then we will move on to the news, and then our topic of the show, which is a rankum of the most important mobile games. So be sure to stick around for that.
Yes, but the last 2 weeks I've been talking about my saga of moving, and last week in particular, I talked about a very, very tragic event that happened, which was my bookshelf collapsed on top of me. And there's another, as you can see in the background for anyone watching on Twitch, the bookshelf has been fully completed. I went through a whole adventure putting that thing together. So
follow you on social media for more updates.
Yes, I have it. If you go to my Instagram page, I made it one of the highlight, like on the page. It's called IKEA. It basically goes through the entire chronicle of all the bullshit I went through with that thing. But just to make a long story short, one of my roommates moved in the day before, and we put together his IKEA desk. And I got the confidence to try my hand at putting that bookshelf together again. And for the most part, it started going well. I was following the instructions to a T. I didn't make any mistakes again. I had all the right tools. Everything seemed to be going well. I got it like pretty well together, but like the middle shelf seemed to have been damaged a little bit from it falling the first time. So my roommate...
Contact support.
But that would take too long. I wanted it now. So my roommate helped me install a bracket onto that shelf. So, we're putting in a lot of extra effort to this IKEA bookshelf when they're supposed to be very, very straightforward. And so we got it together. I started putting all the stuff on. It collapsed again. It collapsed again, but it collapsed like diagonally. So all the shelves were kind of like still in on one side, and then the other side, like everything was just sliding down. And so we had to like remove... What? You cut out there?
And that's where you get a replacement.
But I wanted it now, and I'm not a coward. So we took everything off. We basically added brackets to every single shelf, and you can't see it, but I strategically put pillars of all of my things. Like I have the Halo encyclopedia, and I have a Marvel Comics encyclopedia, and those are on like the shelves, on like the ends of them, so that they will hold it up if it decides to come down again.
What if you want to read one of those?
It's not tall enough. It's not tall enough. Like I can remove it. It's not tall enough to be holding the shelf up. My Marcus Phoenix statue is also just tall enough that it's like I could remove it if I need to, but it will also, in case of collapse, it will come down. The only things that are stuck in place is on my Xbox 360 shelf on the bottom is I had extra copies of the Halo games. Like I have like 3 copies of all the Halo games. So what I did was, because we had multiple Xboxes, and so we
Halo LAN parties,
link, baby. It was definitely worth it. So I have like a shitload of copies of like all the Halo games, and so I used those as actual pillars because the Blu-ray shelf, if those weren't there, that Blu-ray shelf would be not there because it's not actually there. One side is not connected to the wall of the bookshelf. That thing is holding on by dreams right now, and I'm so scared of it.
Halo is holding up your entire life.
I think that there's something. Poetic. I was going to say there's something incredibly suspicious about this whole incident. Are there books that like fly out of the bookshelf at like random sporadic intervals?
No, but my Vive lighthouses have fallen off the walls multiple times.
I don't know. I think we have to give Christopher Nolan a call because I think that somebody might be trying to send you messages from the future.
I understood that reference. But yeah, so that was the adventure of the Billy bookshelf. It seems to be in place. Nothing seems to be wrong. It's been like this for 4 or 5 days now. I think it's good. but I'm also terrified of it. So
It's so winter when we get more frost quakes.
Let me just say, as a new, like, I'm living the college life, and I've bought a lot of alcohol, so I'm ready on a moment's notice.
Hell yeah!
If you want to,
your Billy looks like that. My Billy looks perfectly fine behind me. So I think you just had some issues.
Mine's better. Mine's fucking mine. Mine was personally handcrafted.
If you want to keep
better with the doors,
bookshelf
whatever.
well, I was going to say, if you want to keep the bookshelf well, you should take a stopwatch and you should put it on the bookshelf. The gravity will focus entirely on the stopwatch, and you won't have to worry about the books anymore.
I love Inception.
Yeah, I love
that was
Inception too.
So AJ, you've been playing Tony Hawk.
Yep.
One more thing.
Yeah, no, this is my one more thing. I'll be quick about it.
Right.
Tony Hawk 1 and 2, the demo. Despite last week me having problems with ordering things in general, I caved and pre-ordered Tony Hawk 1 and 2 so that I could get access to the demo. I know I'm a hypocrite. It's actually pretty good. It feels good, feels right. They've changed some things, and I know there's a bit of a purists are a little upset with some of the physics, but like it plays like your memory remembers it, and it still feels like Tony Hawk. And they've added tricks from the future and everything like that. Less reverts, which kind of it doesn't break it. It just I kind of wish reverts were in there. And the other issue, the one issue that I'm having, and it could be one of two things. The first being either I'm getting older and I'm less dexterous in my fingers because I am absolute trash, or it's just because I don't have specifically challenges to motivate me to do better. Because it's just in this demo, it's just the warehouse, and it's just a 2-minute run. Get points. And when I was a kid, I used to use cheat codes all the time for Tony Hawk because that's just what you did. So maybe I screwed myself over with that, or it's because I'm getting older. I don't know.
That's just to be clear. That's what cheaters did.
Yeah, I agree. It was fun. Anyway, that's Tony Hawk.
And on that note, I think we can move along into the news of the week.
I don't think there's much news this week, right?
No, this week we've got 6 big stories for you. We might actually end up having to cut this down.
Yeah.
The first big one comes to us courtesy of Vice Gaming from one Patrick Klepek. Fortnite developer Epic Games is suing Apple over anti-competitive practices. Guys, Fortnite is trying to take on Apple.
2 companies with fuck you money are going to war.
The thing is,
one's for the greater good, though.
Well, I mean, Epic doesn't need the money that Apple's taking. This is not about Epic wanting that. I mean, it's great to get the money back. It is.
But it isn't.
Imagine having a small development studio and you're still having to pay that 30% Apple tax, right?
Yeah.
Where there are other applications in the market that don't have to pay that. That doesn't seem fair. That is anti-competitive. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this shakes out. But the way Epic went about it, it was just a big old middle finger straight to Apple. They had everything ready to go.
It's a little scummy.
How long were they planning to do this?
And had to have been months.
Clearly this was a very planned thing. It's a little scummy, though, what they did, in the sense, like, it screws over all the people who have been playing Fortnite on iPhones that they intentionally went out of their way to, because they knew what was going to happen. So they intentionally screwed.
Hey. This happened on Android too. Let's not forget the plebs.
Okay, fine. They screwed over then even more people. Like that doesn't make Epic any better. That it's like, I understand what they're doing, and I understand that this is for a good cause in the long run, but you are screwing over a whole bunch of people who paid a lot of money into the Fortnite ecosystem. That there are plenty of people who only play Fortnite on their iPhones or on their Android phones, and so it's like now they're just locked out of that content that they paid money for.
They're not locked out of it.
No, it still works right now, right?
That's the thing.
It still works until it updates.
The next update for Fortnite will lock all those people out. So in a week, when the next update drops, I think it's supposed to be like August 28th. Someone can fact check me. towards the end of August.
Not update it though, right?
No. But the thing is, you cannot authenticate against the server if your client version doesn't match the version that everyone else is playing. So we are on the precipice of a ton of viral videos from parents of their children in tears because they can't play their Fortnite anymore. And it's going to be huge. It's going to make news again. There are articles from CTV, CNN. Like, this is mainstream coverage for what Epic is trying to do to Apple right now, and it's crazy.
It is crazy.
Can we say fuck Apple?
Yes, we can.
For this,
it's absolutely
I
true.
will say this. I think that it wasn't very... I'm trying to search for the right word here. I don't really like the 1980 Fortnite trailer that Epic put out. I feel like it feels
They're trying to weaponize children.
It feels exploitative.
It's a little too on the nose.
And it's not...
It's a little too on the nose.
It's not in the spirit of Apple's original 1984 commercial. It's referencing it without understanding what made it so potent. But I do... I agree with the sentiment that potentially if Epic manages to push back against Apple, that this can lead to good things for the industry. Lots of ifs there, but it is an if.
What's very interesting about this too is this comes on the heels of the xCloud Apple kerfuffle last week, and a patent was actually surfaced this week. We found this news via VG247, written up by Kian Mar, that Apple has patented cloud gaming services. So for them to block Stadia and xCloud from their platform is 100% anti-competitive.
I wonder,
as soon as this thing comes to light, they have to make these changes. It doesn't. There's two different standards in the App Store, and something's got to give.
My question is, I wonder, because it seems Epic is fighting Apple on a different front than the xCloud stuff, but it all kind of falls under the same umbrella to a certain extent. My question is, I wonder, did Epic pull the trigger on this sooner than they would have if it wasn't for the xCloud news?
Potentially.
I
think so.
There's no way we would know, but it is just something that kind of interesting to speculate, because Epic has kind of been at war with they've been really just kind of trying to go out to war with Steam in a certain extent, and Steam has caved a little bit, but not as much as they probably.
Steam caved for the big earners. They didn't cave for the little guy. Now, speaking of caving and Steam and everything, and the industry as a whole, Patrick Klepek, the guy who wrote the article that we're talking about, tweeted out, the key to the Epic versus Google fight is the argument over the 30% cut. It's the same question with Steam. Developers, how has the cut materially impacted your work, your finances, your planning? And so I reached out to my friend Ben to see if I could get a quote from him on this. And he said, he told me this. We've been pretty vocal about it. 30% sucks. The only way they get away with it is market share. All of their features combined don't add 20% to the average game. Visibility is the absolute worst problem for indie games, and it's not even close. And I assume that goes for the same for all the app stores in particular, right? Especially Steam, especially the Android marketplace, especially the iOS app store. Visibility, you get tanked if you're not a hit day one, you just disappear and you're off the charts forever, and that 30% you're never going to make your money back. So it is what it is, I guess.
It sucks, and it's going to be interesting to see how these next few weeks and months potentially play out with this Apple Fortnite thing. Yeah,
for everything Epic is doing, it is really kind of cool that they're using the popularity of this game, the funds that they are making from this game, to try and make the industry a better place in any way that they can. And they have to you have to have fuck you money to be able to do that. And Epic is right now the only company that really can. So I think we should champion Epic a lot more. I know the PC crowd is very divisive on Epic because they want their Steam games, but Epic is really making moves that is going to better the industry for the developers so that we, the consumers, can get better games in the long run.
I wouldn't go that far because for them it is a win-win. They get the publicity. They have the money to win this fight or to stretch it as long as they can. But they don't have to do
this though. They don't have to do this.
They're also going to make the money back in the long run, right?
Yeah.
If the cut is lower, they're going to make more money. Because you have to expect that behind the scenes, the conversations were happening between Epic and Apple over the fee, right? Because there are exceptions to that in the App Store now with things like Netflix, Prime Video, Uber, DoorDash. Like all these apps have in-app payment options, and I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how things play out.
For sure.
What else is interesting is more game studios being accused of harassment of their female employees. And why?
Nothing interesting about this.
Yet again, another studio, this time Rocksteady, is being accused of inaction over staff harassment. This coming to us via The Guardian, written by Alex Hearn. There was a letter that was released to The Guardian that was written by a group of female employees over 2 years ago to address these concerns. And there's actually been an update on this since then. Earlier today, Rocksteady on Twitter released a statement that essentially boiled down to it was a written statement that was presented to them recently by 8 of the 10 women who were submitting this original complaint, who are still with the company, that did say that Rocksteady did take action to try and correct these measures since it happened. So, yes, it sucks that it happened in the first place and people need to be better to each other. But at least in this situation, it's a developer taking action rather than inaction. At least as far as we can tell. We don't know for certain that these things happen, but...
Well, there was the video today. What was her name? Jen... give me a second. I'm going to pull it up. But one of the writers on Suicide Squad did a 13-minute video about the issues that she had working there, and the people who their issues were with are still working there. Mm-hmm. And she's asked to have her name removed from the Suicide Squad game.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's still work to be done. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
It's
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, this keeps coming to light with different studios, and yeah, there's a lot more that needs to get done, because holy shit, the fact that it just kind of keeps happening, and it's probably going to keep happening for a while. Like, it's just kind of depressing in that sense.
We should keep talking about it too, because if we don't talk about it, then it's just gonna get hidden again. So
for sure.
I made a tweet about this earlier, but games on their game checklist should really go through HR and make sure that they've dealt with complaints properly before they release games. Because this always seems to happen near the release of the games. And not that it should happen at all. It should be cleared up. But at this point, every game company, if you're not going back and looking at HR complaints, and if you've dealt with them properly or not, you're kind of failing.
Yeah.
On that same note, real quick, if they feel like they're forced to time the announcements of this sort of thing near a big marketing push, because otherwise it's just gonna fall on deaf ears like normal, right? Like we might not be talking about it if they didn't just announce Suicide Squad.
And that's why or if they weren't going to have the big blowout this weekend for it.
I will say, though, not to be dismissive of this story or anything of that nature, but like, this is when you guys brought this up on the docket for this week's show, this is the first time that I had actually heard about this story. Like, it doesn't seem like the story is quite, and this is just in the circles that I purview, it doesn't feel like this story is gaining the same traction that other stories of sexual harassment have in the past few weeks / months.
Yeah,
that's a shame, because like we've been saying,
it's a shame. Total
need
shame.
to be talked about. Yeah, no, I'm totally with you there. We need to be better. And I don't have a good transition out of that. So the next piece of news is related to Halo Infinite's development, and there were suggestions being made that development of Halo Infinite had been greatly impacted by both outsourcing as well as work on the Halo Showtime series. This coming to us from IGN via Jordan Alleman. There has since been an update to this story since I put it in the doc, that Halo 343 essentially came out and said they have separate teams that work on these things, so there was no impact.
No way. There's no way the
But the
TV
outsourcing,
outsourcing
very much could. If the outsourcing, sorry, go ahead.
Before we go to the outsourcing thing, like, what was the original argument that the TV show was distracting Halo Infinite's development? Because even when I read that the first time, I was like, that I don't understand how that would make sense.
That's just, it kind of, from what I was sort of reading about it on Twitter, because I'm very ingrained in the Halo community, I was seeing a lot of people like, it was just saying that developers were getting distracted by the TV show. There wasn't any like real.
No, it was management. Management was being distracted by the TV show, which could be the case. High-level management being involved in all of these projects will, have to shift priorities depending on where they feel like the focus needs to be.
I will agree that 343 has had trouble keeping the game separate from the media, but that feels more ingrained with the actual like development of the game itself, and not about the actual like that means like more like the story and stuff of like Halo 5 and Halo Wars 2 and like that stuff, and Halo 4, like those, like it feels like it's more ingrained with that type of stuff, like the story stuff, not the actual development of the game. Clearly Halo Infinite has had a super troubled development ever since they started working on it, probably in 2016. I don't know specifically when they started working on it, but it's at least been close to 5 years now, and it's had a lot of trouble. There are people in the Halo community who have apparently talked to some of these outsourcing devs, and there's a lot of frustration with them, and it, like, that part definitely seems legitimate. Like, that part seems very, very close to truth, in the sense that like there's a very good reason why Halo Infinite was delayed and why it looks the way that it does. And I really hope that 343, and like another thing, 2 creative directors left Halo Infinite, which is not a good sign. Over the course of the last 4 years, they've had 2 people in like the close to the highest level you can get on a project like this leave. There's clearly a lot of issues happening. I'm hoping, my biggest hope is that they'll pull it together in the course of the next year with the delay for the game. But I'm really questioning why Microsoft hasn't stepped in and really kind of straightened 343. They are the helms of the biggest franchise that Microsoft owns. And clearly for the last, at least the last 5 years, because ever since Halo 5, there's been a lot of issues with Infinite. What is going on with them, and what needs to change to get them to kind of be on track?
In software development as a whole, not specific to game dev,
right?
Throwing more bodies at a problem, which if the outsourcing ratio is higher than they anticipated for this title because they needed more people to work on it, is a possibility. Throwing more bodies at a problem in software development doesn't make the problem go away. It just means you have more people looking at the same problem.
Especially when your management is not
distracted.
Yeah, is not doing what, like, even like if they're not distracted and their focus is still on the project, if they're not doing what the project needs at that particular moment, it's still going to have problems, because you just have all of these people who can't work towards like solving the issue if they aren't given the proper directions to solve that issue.
Now, here's the thing, Alex. At the end of the day, how concerned are you actually by Halo Infinite's development after hearing this news? Because in the lead up to the release of The Last of Us Part 2, we heard, similar stories of there being a revolving door of project leads, of, that studio dealing with, all sorts of development issues. Clearly, having to work from home also took its toll on that game's development too, seeing as how it was delayed. In the end, though, and we didn't, fully agree on everything that we liked and disliked about the game, but in the end, no, everyone would more or less agree that The Last of Us Part 2 turned out quite excellently.
Yeah, it's a fully polished product.
Yeah, so jumping to like Halo Infinite, do you feel like the same is going to be probably true of this, where this sounds scary, but in the end, everything will work out as best as it can work out for this game? Or
so my thoughts are, I think this game, like, the delay was desperately needed. I know from the stories that we've heard from developers, especially in the last couple of years, people have been a lot more open about game development, a lot of games don't come together until the last few weeks before they go gold. And I think Halo Infinite is going to be cutting it really, really close. Ask me this question again when we see it again, and that will determine my answer. Because right now, I think the delay is going to be very good for it. I don't know how good, because that game looked like it had a lot of fundamental issues, even though I still thought it looked like it was going to be fun.
Okay.
Totally derailed this show for just a minute.
Sorry about that. Very passionate about this topic.
Is this breaking news?
I'm pretty passionate about what I'm bringing up too. Cozy thinks Avengers Endgame was an okay movie.
Oh God!
Wait, me?
Whoever's logged into the Press YYZ Twitch account at the moment.
It's not me. I'm not logged in.
God damn it, AJ.
Login information.
I mean, we all have access to it.
So. It is one of us 5. Whoever said it was okay, I need to know now, because I need to know who's not getting a Christmas gift. I'm dead serious.
Well, we're all logged into our own accounts, so it could be anyone.
I need to know that it was Nathan.
I think your split
Alex.
Personality is getting the best of you.
Could it have been you?
I want, for the record, I enjoyed Avengers Endgame quite a bit. I'd give that movie a 9.0 out of 10.
I give it like an 8. I give it like an 8.5. I think Infinity War was better, but it's still a amazing conclusion to the Avengers or the Infinity Saga.
I wish I could see Endgame again for the first time in a movie theater with a crowded theater, because that was an experience that I don't know if that will ever be recreated. It was amazing. Anyway.
All right.
The only one who didn't say anything was Nathan. Nathan, you're
well,
not.
I haven't had a chance to say it yet.
Anyway,
I really enjoyed taking my son to see it and watching his face as we watch the movie. And watching.
I don't know who I don't know who I don't like at this point, but it's pretty obvious who I don't like at this point. Moving on.
Is it?
Our next story we'll get through pretty quickly. Nintendo had it's definitely Nathan. Nintendo had to be. Come on. I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. We will update our audience. I will waterboard people if I have to.
Mitch, I moved some things around in the docs so that we could save a little bit of time.
I didn't look at the doc. I was dropping that one. That's the one I wanted to drop. I want to talk about this one more, and I'm going to skip the next one. The next two.
So we're not talking about the Nintendo Indie World thing?
No, the thing we are talking about is Nintendo. The other two I'm going to drop.
Okay.
Oh,
cool.
I mean, okay, sure.
Because it's a little bit weird to be playing the Nintendo Indie World presentation when we haven't actually formally introduced the topic yet. But
okay, we're going to talk about the Nintendo Indie World presentation. That'll wrap up the news very quickly.
I can delay it and interject for a second longer if you want.
I mean, if you refresh your doc, you can see a better list of news.
I'm going to ignore everything going on right now and just say Nintendo had an Indie World showcase. And it was great. And I think Hades coming to Switch is awesome. And Untitled Goose Game getting multiplayer is hilarious. Does anyone have anything else they want to highlight from the show? Otherwise, we can move on.
Those look cool.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, those two games that you brought were the ones that I say I'm probably most interested in myself. All the other games look good, but...
The Spiritfire game that's on Game Pass, that looks kind of cool. I'm probably going to download that.
I'm probably going to check it out when I get my PC.
I'm playing Manifold Gardens right now. So I have a review code for Switch for
about that.
Yeah.
Should be cool.
Cool.
All right. Yeah, so if you're interested, go check that out. And I think with that, we're going to wrap up the news for the week and move into read/watch all the things. The first article I pulled is from Polygon's Nicole Carpenter. We have to stop picking on the Fall Guys yellow team, guys. Every game, if you're on the yellow team, you're going to lose, and it's not fair. So stop being so mean to the yellow team.
I've won on the yellow team.
They're just the team Mystic of Fall Guys and Mystic for life. That's all I'm saying.
Yo, Mystic.
Instinct.
Let's go.
You mean Instinct.
Oh, no.
It's all Mystic, bro.
Oh, fuck. I was talking about Instinct.
Yeah, Instinct is great.
Instinct for life. Team Yellow.
No, Mystic.
Red Valor. Come on.
Hey,
Nathan, what team are you on, Nathan?
Wait, this is a Pokemon Go thing.
Red, blue, or yellow in Pokemon
the blue.
Go.
I picked the Pokemon Blue.
Okay, so
Disgusting.
we've got Mystic and Instinct and Dead Heat. Valor's just languishing in a corner here.
That sounds like Valor.
Anyone on
Yeah,
Let's
that
move
actually
on
does.
since we're no longer talking about Fall Guys and talk about something else in Fall Guys. PC Gamer put out an article that is ranking every type of player in Fall Guys. So you got people that are grabbers, people that don't understand how physics work. It's just a fun read. And then also earlier today, we got the Call of Duty Cold War teaser. So it's actually happening.
The fact that this game hasn't been formally announced yet is baffling. It is August.
I watched the trailer, and it's a lot of like old footage from like the Cold War era, and it rings very true today and is very scary with the backdrop of today in the United States in particular. So maybe give it a watch.
Game will not release in 2020.
No.
I'm
That would
calling
be
it now.
crazy.
We have not seen the game. We know it's been in development hell. We will not see this game launch in 2020.
Crazy.
Yep.
Crazy.
Moving on. Reset Areas dug through some weird foreign retail stores and found a Prince of Persia remake. So that might be a thing. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a heads up. I would suspect that this is probably not going to be a full 3D Prince of Persia game. The fact that it's listed as a remake makes me think that it might be like a remake of like one of the earlier 2D ones, or at least a remake of the 3D remakes that they received during the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 era. That's just my
Did you see the
conjecture,
box
though.
art?
I could be wrong.
Did you see the box art? It was basically Prince of Persia Sands of Time.
Well,
Why would they
this
remake
is from the
game
third
but
game.
Sands of Time?
This is from the third. This key art is from the third game in that trilogy, though.
Oh, yeah, no, it was the one with the split personality or whatever, right?
Like, I don't know. The specific fact that they chose that piece of key art speaks to me that they don't know what Prince of Persia game they're going with, and so they just decided, let's just throw in this piece of key art. Doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the actual game being announced.
Maybe, but it'll remain to be seen if that gets announced. If it comes out, who knows? But interesting stuff. And I think with that, we can wrap up, read/watch all the things, and head into its raining deals. It has already been brought up more than once on this podcast, but Xbox Game Pass has new games, and that's great. As mentioned, Flight Simulator is available now, as well as Spiritfarer on both console and PC. Battletoads, Crossing Souls, and Darksiders Genesis, as well as Don't Starve Giant Edition, actually. All four of those will be coming to Game Pass on August the 20th, which has already happened if you're listening to this after the fact. New Super Lucky's Tale comes to console and PC on August 21st. Hypnospace Outlaw and Tell Me Why Chapter 1 both come to console and PC August 27th. Double Kick Heroes on console and PC, which actually looked pretty neat. It was like a rhythm action game. Looked pretty cool. Console and PC August 28th. Wasteland 3 on the 28th. Crusader Kings 3 on PC September 1st. And Resident Evil 7 Biohazard on console and PC Game Pass September 3rd.
Continuing to prove that Game Pass is the best deal in media.
100%. Except for maybe Disney Plus, but we're not going to get into that tonight. Avengers Endgame is the best movie of all time. Let's get into our topic of the show. And tonight, what? You're giving me this look, Alex. I don't know what's happening.
I'm gonna just.
Oh yeah, you're a film student, so you don't agree with me. That's fine. We're gonna get into our topic of the show tonight. Based around all of this Fortnite craziness on mobile, we are going to play a game of Rank'em. We are going to rank the most important mobile games of all time. The way Rank'em works, for those who are new here, is I've got 4 hosts and myself. I will be the host of your game. I will guide everyone through this experience. Each host is going to get 3 chances to name games and put them on the list. Give me their arguments as to why they deserve to be there in round 1. I choose where they go because I'm the host. We'll get into round 2, where each host will get a chance to argue why one of their games is better than or is more important based on the criteria than one of the other games on the list. If I agree, I'll swap them. If I don't, things stay the same. Round 3 is the mystery round, and we'll explain that when we get there. Start things off. I know this is going to be weird, so I'm going to leave it for last. So I'm going to want Nathan to give me his first game.
Oh, wow. I get to go first? Sweet. In terms of important mobile games, I'm going to go back to when I was a dummy and had a iPod Touch, because that's where mobile games first started. And I'm going to bring up a game that I think changed mobile gaming forever, Angry Birds. Quack!
Okay.
It was very, very simple. It was easy to use with the touch screen, and it became a phenomenon and really made mobile gaming a thing. There wasn't a game out there before this game that fit that mold. So I definitely think Angry Birds should be on this list, and probably in the number one spot.
It's going to go there for now because it's the only one on the list, but I agree with everything you said. Angry Birds was one of the first games to break ground on mobile devices and say this is how gaming is going to look on these things in the future. So appreciate you, Nathan.
No
Mr.
problem.
Ballant.
Hello, I'm ready.
I need a game. Let's give it.
So there's one mobile game that lit the world on fire when it came out. It was a phenomenon for that summer. It's Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go was insane when it came out. Everyone was playing it. You could go outside and see groups of people all trying to catch Pokemon, and it did something special. It really, in the hellscape that was 2016, which was a very hellscape of a year, it brought a lot of people together in the best possible way. And I just think that needs to be, like, I think that really goes to show the power that mobile games can do, because everyone has a phone and everyone could play Pokemon Go when it came out.
What was wrong with 2016?
It was a presidential election year. It's not a good year.
But
Pretty good reasons.
Pokemon Go released way before the election.
Yeah, well, it came
And
out
this
that
has been
year.
a hellscape.
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
don't you remember Pokemon Go to the elections?
yeah.
Pokemon Go to the
but
polls, whatever it
that
was.
was months and months after. The election was months and months after. I don't think that your argument really makes a lot of sense.
Well, there was a lot of
By comparison, 2016 is, roses and unicorns compared to 2020.
Like,
But at the time, I have to agree with Alex. It changed the way people use their phones. It brought people together in a time where, with devices that typically you're very isolated when you're on mobile. So at least for now, Pokemon Go's taken the number one spot.
Also, I have to say, I'm not saying 2016 is a worse year than 2020. Never said that. I just said 2016 was starting the downfall.
It was the beginning of the end, so to speak.
Yes, that's. I never said it was worse than 2020. Let's just.
AJ?
I just want to clear that up.
AJ,
Hi.
I need a game, buddy. I need a game.
Okay.
Give me a game. Tell me why.
Okay, so I've got the Wikipedia page open for this game, and I'm just going to read it right here. The game was set in a virtual world, or parallel kingdom, where users claimed their territories based on their GPS location or by making friends who could invite them to travel to new places. Parallel Kingdom is a game that I played way back in like 2011, 2012.
What's the name of the game?
Parallel Kingdom.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were going to bring up different something.
Nope, not bringing up the other Niantic game, Ingress, which they tried, which was like the precursor to Pokemon Go. But before that, in terms of importance, this game, it's something that me and a handful of friends from work played, trying to capture territories around town. And it was basically a mobile RPG where on the real world map you would fight things in real time and try to take over other people's territories and plant flags down and try and expand your territory across the entirety of town. So really this was a precursor to even Ingress, and absolutely in some way, shape, or form inspired the possibilities of what eventually became Pokemon Go.
Interesting. I didn't know this game existed.
It's no longer around, but in terms of like importance, like this is seminal. Like before Ingress, before Pokemon Go, like.
Yes, but you kind of just shot yourself in the foot there, AJ. I'm sorry. Do you know what you did?
Of course I did. Did I make the thumbnail?
You always do, and I always love it, even when I forget to use it.
Uh-huh.
What you did is said that the game's not around anymore. You know what has staying power?
Important
Pokemon
things.
Go. You know what has staying power? The Angry Birds franchise. They launched a franchise, and Parallel Kingdom couldn't last. So for that reason, it's going in.
Kingdom launched, set the groundwork for Pokemon Go. It was a GPS like before that was even a thing.
Number
First one to think of it
is where AJ's
you
pick goes. Cozy.
Okay.
Let's wrap this first go around up with a bang. What is it?
Okay, so it will probably not be of much surprise to you to learn that I was initially going to say Pokemon Go for my first pick. Can't say that anymore. So instead, I'm going to bring up another Go game, albeit a Go game of a very different nature, Lara Croft Go. So this is a game that was actually developed here in my home city of Montreal, and basically took the kind of action-adventure platforming gameplay of the Lara Croft Tomb Raider series and basically adapted it to a really neat puzzle-like mold that felt perfectly at home on the kind of smartphone's touchscreen in a way that I feel is not true of so many other games of its nature. Featured a minimalist but effective art style, and overall was just, you know, what I think made this game most impressive is I feel like, as I said, it's a puzzle game, but it really didn't feel quite like anything that had come before it. And obviously, it also proved quite successful when they adapted Hitman Go to the same sort of frame with Hitman Go, and also Deus Ex with Deus Ex Go, which succeeded this game a bit later. But I still think that this was the best of that sort of trilogy of Go games.
I totally agree with everything you're saying, Cozy. I think the Go games are great games. But how important are they on mobile or to the mobile gaming space? I look at a list like Pokemon Go, I look at a list with Angry Birds, and then the other thing. I really like the game, but I don't know how it stands up against these other, unfortunately, juggernauts compared to what Square Enix was able to put together. And they put together a great package. That being said, though, I will have to put it at number 3 for now, just above Parallel Kingdom.
Okay.
All right. So after that first go around in round 1, things are interesting, and I'm gonna mix things up again, and we're not gonna go in the same order. So Cozy, we're gonna reverse things. You're going first. Go.
What? Okay, hold on. Give me a quick second here. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna talk about a little game called 80 Days. Anyone here familiar with 80 Days?
Not in the slightest.
Okay. I'm going to pull up another quick
Can't be that important if I haven't heard of it.
Basically, 80 Days is an award-winning, and by the way, the award-winning part is actually true, game that basically is an adaptation of the famous story by Jules Verne, Around the World in 80 Days, where basically the two main characters from that story must travel around a like steampunk-ified version of the world from the 1800s and basically tour the world in 80 days. There's a lot of like neat little like inventory management stuff. There you have like a budget that you have to maintain. You can take little odd jobs on the side on your way around the world. There are all sorts of like secrets you can uncover every time that you travel to a new city. There is like little storylines that you can follow and like secret routes that will allow you to get to certain destinations quicker than you would expect. It's an incredibly charming experience, and much like Lara Croft Go before it, it's really one of those experiences that is hard to explain unless you've played it. There are certain comparisons to prior games. I suppose you could, if you had to classify it in a genre, you could say it's a visual novel, because that's more or less what I would say its mechanics amount to, but it really is unlike anything else, and I heavily implore you to go and check this game out if you have not checked it out before.
It's actually on like everything: Steam, Mac, Switch, so you can pick it up in a few spots.
I know, but you can also say the same thing of the Birds game of Lara Croft.
No, I'm not a knock against it at all, Cozy. That I was just saying it is out there for people to check out.
Okay,
regardless of if they play mobile games or not.
Okay,
fair.
Yeah, that's fine.
I know I sprung it on you really quickly about going immediately after yourself. So again, I didn't hear a lot about what made that important to mobile gaming. I'm going to give you another 30 seconds to just in a nutshell, why is 80 Days important to mobile gaming as a platform?
I feel like it was a great demonstration of how to like tell a really compelling narrative that you also have a lot of control over, and did so in a way that, again, felt very particularly suited to the mobile medium. And all the other like inventory management, resource management, budgetary stuff, again, just it felt very kind of at home in the mobile medium. And it's one of those games where it felt in sync with the simplicity that the mobile medium demands your games to be, to fully feel at home within it, while not insulting the intelligence of players going into it, while not insulting the intelligence of like somebody who's a super skilled gamer who's going into it. But it's also the kind of game that scales to somebody who's just like a younger kid who's playing a mobile game who checks this one out.
Yeah, and I mean, honest to God, I think you're one of the more eloquent hosts on our show. Oh. You put together a great argument. Unfortunately, I think you just argued against yourself really well, and it's going to place just above Lara Croft Go in the number 3 spot for now.
Okay.
AJ, I'm going to need your next game.
Yeah, and do it eloquently.
Why am I not allowed to compliment you guys? You're doing a great job here, except AJ.
That was a backhanded compliment to the rest of us, just saying.
I said more eloquent. I didn't say you were not eloquent. We are all masters of this craft. Except
so, back in the day, 2013, a little mobile game, a very simplistic mobile game, took the world by storm. This game is called Flappy Bird.
Oh, that's on my list.
This game is quite important in not only the discourse around mobile games and their simplicity, but also with accessibility and how simple it is to just try and time your flaps, time your jumps, but also the discourse behind the scenes of the community, not the community of the game, but it brought some of the worst people out of work, and made the developer go away. And it really brought to light just how toxic the internet is in a way that helped us change our own ways and our own discourse on the internet for the better. I know after seeing that, for me personally, like I stopped looking at, people making death threats on the internet, like as just, it doesn't mean anything, it's just on the internet. No, these words have weight. People have feelings. People are on the other end of the things you're saying, and it's very important in that way. But as a game, the importance of it, if you go to Dave & Buster's right now, there's a Flappy Bird machine at Dave & Buster's. And the simplicity of it, a single button, you just tap and you go for the high score. You compete with your friends that way. There's something simple and frustrating in a very Fall Guys-like way about playing Flappy Bird.
Yeah, there's no doubting how important Flappy Bird was to the way mobile games have developed over time, especially, like you mentioned, the discourse around it and the developer's own conscience around the addictive nature of the game and everything like that. It really did shine a light on an industry that didn't really have that before. And for that reason, Flappy Bird's going to come in at number 3 currently on our list, just behind Angry Birds, but ahead of 80 Days. Nathan?
Very nice.
You went first the last time, so Alex, I need your next game.
Okay, so I'm gonna choose a game that proved that mobile games can be used as great marketing tools for big budget AAA games. That game's Fallout Shelter. Fallout Shelter was released the day that they showed Fallout 4 for the first time. Because like that series had been dormant since 2010 after New Vegas came out, and so we didn't know what was happening with Fallout. And the fact that they showed Fallout 4, there was a lot of hype around it, and then they brought this mobile game, and it was available to play day one on the App Store. It really showed that big budget studios could use mobile gaming as a tool for marketing. And also, it was just a really great addition to the Fallout franchise. It was very true to form in the themes of Fallout, and I think it was just a great experience that really showed what you could do with AAA, like with regular video game franchises, how you can adapt that to mobile. So I think it did a lot of things really well, given some of the limitations that mobile brings.
I like the argument. I'm conflicted. I'm of two minds here. Where do I want to put this? I think Fallout Shelter, for everything that it did, it's gonna go in at number 4, just behind Flappy Bird, but ahead of 80 Days.
Fair enough. Yeah.
All right, Nathan, I need your second title.
The top 5 are going to be...
My second title. I'm going to go with a game that I don't love a lot, but there's no question that it's important because of all the clones that it's created over time. And it's a game called Candy Crush that has addicted millions and millions of people to their phones, moving candy around and blowing pieces away. This is a game that became a cultural phenomenon and really got a lot of people into mobile gaming who weren't mobile gamers. Since then, you've seen that strategy implemented in many games, many games going forward. And while maybe it's not the best game, and we may not like the scheme, the system to how they make money in it, you cannot deny that it is important because of how it has crafted the mobile genre in general, for better or for worse.
2 things to say here. I hate what Candy Crush has done to the mobile games market. And 2, you're 100% correct in everything you said. Candy Crush is coming in at number 2, ahead of Angry Birds, but behind Pokemon Go.
They tried to copyright the word candy. What the fuck?
Yeah, that was
just scummy. But
okay,
it's important because it's made mobile video games what they are today, unfortunately. All right. So we're heading into the tail end of round 1, and I'm just going to go kind of across the board here. Nothing's going to be set in stone. We're going to be kind of random with everything we do. AJ, I need your game first.
Alrighty. Okay. This game was the first one that I think really caught on and made this studio take off, and they've been around ever since. The company is called Kairosoft, and they've made a bunch of games in a similar art style at the very least. But the one I want to focus on is Game Dev Story. Game Dev Story came out in about 2010, and I remember being completely addicted to that game in a way that I hadn't been addicted to a mobile device since like the DS and the Game Boy. What I wanted to do is I wanted to build my team up and have them make the best games possible, and eventually the best game consoles possible. The game itself is charming, and they use real world inspirations, and they jokingly rename like Intendro instead of Nintendo and stuff like that for competitors and stuff. And that game specifically spawned a whole bunch of very similar experiences. One is like a ski resort. The other is like a taco stand. There's like a mall and like hospital. In similar, you're just trying to manage a handful of workers and trying to make the best end result possible. And because of its staying power, because of everything that spawned from it and after it, I think it's incredibly important, especially in the history of mobile gaming as a whole.
I absolutely love Kairosoft and almost everything they do, especially Game Dev Story. It's one of my favorite games on mobile. The problem is I look at this list and I don't they're all pretty important except for like one. So I don't really know where it falls. That's the See, I kind of painted myself into a corner here with this list because I don't think it's more important than what Lara Croft Go did, but that's so low. Sorry, AJ, but it's going to go at number 8 behind Lara Croft Go.
Disgusting.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
I am. I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
I am. Nathan, can I get your next game, please?
Oh, you want my next game now?
Yep. Like I said, wild card.
Okay, wow, you threw me up there. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a game that's important because it proved how you cannot monetize a game to a company. As much as maybe we wanted it to be that way. Super Mario Run. It was designed specifically for mobile, made a big splash with it launching on Apple. Miyamoto jumped up on stage, or was on stage, I believe, during the Apple event to introduce Mario Run to the world. And they tried a pricing scheme where they were charging a premium price for it, $10. You got the first 4 levels, and then you had to pay for it. And it made good money, but it didn't make enough money to Nintendo to a point where they basically the rest of their mobile games really fucked them up with their monetization scheme. In terms of Mario Kart and Animal Crossing Pocket Camp and Fire Emblem and how they put microtransactions in just like all the other companies. I think it was important because it was supposed to be like this is the game. Somebody's finally getting it. They're charging a little more premium price point because of how the App Store head was really caving to the lowest common denominator at the time. And for whatever reason, Nintendo wasn't happy with the results on it. But I think it's important for that reason.
With you, it needs to place on this list because it did shift what is a beloved game developer from being a champion of the gamers on that market to just another company that makes gotcha games there, which is unfortunate. And for that reason, Super Mario Run is going to come in at number 5, just ahead of Fallout Shelter.
Ooh, things are getting spicy.
Always. Alex,
I'm ready.
I just kicked one of your games out of the top 5, so I need your next one.
All right, I'm going to go with the biggest game in the world right now that is huge on mobile and might not be for very long because of what their developer is doing, but it's going to change the industry because of it, and that's Fortnite. Fortnite is huge on everything, but it's especially huge on mobile. There's over 100 million people playing it on iOS alone. I couldn't find the Android numbers, but it's probably equally as huge. Fortnite is huge. Fortnite has taken over the world, and for it to be the most popular game in the world right now, it's also a pretty damn good video game. Like, it's not like a shitty mobile game either, but it still runs on your fucking iPhone. That's awesome. And Epic is using their money that they're making from Fortnite, and the monetization's not actually that terrible. It is cosmetic stuff. It's not that gotcha, at least like compared to everything else on the mobile market. I think just the importance of, especially what we're going to like, the importance of when Fortnite Battle Royale came out and how it kind of changed the industry, like the fact that like the events that they've been doing in it, you could watch Inception in Fortnite. Like, that's insane. They had Travis Scott concerts, and this is all because of just how huge it is and the fact that it's free to play and it's available on the device that everyone owns, which is, mobile phones. I think it goes to show just how important Fortnite is and how important it's going to be in shaping what companies like Apple can do to the mobile market. I think Fortnite is very seminal.
Are doing an entire topic of the show based on the simple fact that Fortnite is trying to disrupt the mobile games market. And for us, who are not typically, outside of Pokemon Go, at least for Cozy and I, we're not really mobile gamers first, but it's still making the news the way it is. And you guys know where I'm going with this. It's going at number 1. It has to. So Fortnite's in at number 1 with a bullet.
Fortnite save the world.
Alexander Kazina,
so
it's your turn to wrap up this round.
I want to start this off by saying I realized that I actually misheard what this ranking round was going to be about. I thought that it was going to be the best mobile games, not the most important mobile games. And so the specific reason why I chose 80 Days and Lara Croft Go is because I'm like, these are like actual, genuine, real high quality mobile games. Some of the other games that we brought up, Pokemon Go, Fortnite, those are great games. Candy Crush Saga, Flappy Birds, those games are crap. Those games are pieces of shit. Not saying they're not important, but like, come on.
They're not good.
Angry Birds is good.
It's okay.
Candy Crush is not great.
Okay.
Angry Birds is good.
Yeah, we can agree on Candy Crush Saga. We'll leave it there. Anyways, yeah. I just wanted to get that off my chest because I was getting a little bit frustrated right then and there. All right.
No, I'm sorry that we were not on the same page to start, Cozy.
So quick. It's all right. I'm perfectly focused.
You got this
perfectly
one.
Calm.
You got it.
Let's talk about Fruit Ninja. Do you want to be a ninja? Do you only have a phone? Do you only have your fingers? Do you have at least one finger? Guess what? You can be a ninja, a fruit ninja. Swipe that fruit.
Yeah, you can.
And just score and win. This is a game that, of course, was immensely popular. It got adapted into like a Kinect game. There's like an arcade game, I believe, that you can still theoretically find. Like Fruit Ninja, I think, is the epitome of, hey, here is a mobile game that's perfectly adapted to the control set that is unique to this platform. And it does not purport to be anything more or less than what it is, which is a really great, entirely touch-based mobile game.
Fruit Ninja's great. You're right. It crossed a lot of I's and dotted a lot of T's for me. And I love it, and I think it's in a similar vein to the games that like flooded, like when there was that flood of mobile games. It was things like Angry Birds, like Candy Crush, and like Fruit Ninja that rode to the top for good or for bad. I think out of those three, Fruit Ninja is the one that rose to the top the best for me, and it's my list. So Fruit Ninja's going at number 3 because Candy Crush sucks. I'm sorry, Nathan, but the argument was there, and Candy Crush sucks. So with that, we've wrapped up round 1 of Rank 'em. And the way this works for those who are new here is only the games that finish in our top 10 are actually worth points. So I'll go over the top 10 and the score, and then we can move on into round 2. At number 10, we've got Lara Croft Go from Cozy. Number 9 is 80 Days, also from Mr. Kazina. At number 8, Fallout Shelter from Alex Ballant. Number 7 is Nathan's pick of Super Mario Run. Number 6 is AJ with Flappy Bird. At 5, Nathan with Angry Birds. More birds, more points. At number 4, Candy Crush Saga, also from Nathan. Number 3, Fruit Ninja from Cozy. At number 2, Pokemon Go from Mr. Ballant. And at number 1, Alex again, Fortnite.
Yeah.
So as things stand at the end of round 1, we've got Alex in first place, Nathan 1 point behind, Cozy very close in third, and then AJ. The scoring as it exists, games 6 through 10 are worth 1 point, 2 through 5 are worth 2 points, and the number 1 spot is worth 3 points. All right, round 2. This is where you get to argue why one of your games deserves to be higher than another on the list. If I like it, they switch. If I don't, things stay the same. We're going to go from first to worst. So, Alex, which of your games, and I can only see one there, deserves to be higher than another game on the list?
Yeah. So obviously I'm going to be arguing for Fallout Shelter because, I'm sitting pretty cozy at the first 2 spots. I'm trying to think because there's 2 options that would get me points. I think I'm going to fight against Angry Birds in the sense it's kind of the best argument that I've got is to say that, Angry Birds, was big when it came out, but it's lost its relevance quite a bit now, at least, in the mobile game market. They tried to play catch up with things like making their subsequent sequels free to play, adding licenses like Star Wars, and it never really captured that fire again. I think Fallout Shelter did something special in the sense that it hit a different market that normally wouldn't be playing these mobile games at a time when we were all fucking sick of mobile games. And the fact that it got us, people who are more into gaming, more AAA gaming, to be able to play another game on their phone, I think was really special, where I think Angry Birds didn't last as long as some of these other games that have kind of had longer tails. That's the best I got.
Can you counter that argument by basically arguing why Angry Birds has more staying power in the industry than Fallout Shelter?
So I'm just on the Wikipedia page here for Angry Birds. So you know that there was an Angry Birds movie as well as the sequel to the Angry Birds movie, and we have a third Angry Birds movie on the way.
Third one?
Yeah, there's a third one scheduled for 2022 right now. So if we're going to talk about a game with more staying power, it's still got movies coming out. I don't see that with Fallout Shelter. I don't hear anybody talking about Fallout Shelter nowadays. It's gone radio silent.
Things are going to stay the same. I'm sorry, Alex. I know you didn't have much to do there, but it was worth a shot.
Yeah.
Nathan, why does one of your games deserve to be higher than another on this list?
For many reasons. I'm going to actually look at Angry Birds. And Angry Birds needs to be higher than Fortnite. Fortnite is important right now. That being said, it's a console game that got ported to mobile, and don't get me wrong, it's important on mobile, and that's why we're talking about it as the topic of the show. That being said, that's recency bias in like the top form at the moment. It's important and it deserves to be on the list, but we're talking about if without Angry Birds, we would not have a flourishing mobile market the way that, like, there wouldn't be a mobile gaming market without it because of what it did. I'm looking at the different iterations of Angry Birds that have come out. There's like 15 different versions of Angry Birds that have come out since it launched back in 2009. Like in different forms, there's a Transformers Angry Bird, there's a role-playing Angry Birds, there's like different Star Wars Angry Birds, 2 Star Wars Angry Birds games that have come out. And one
was original trilogy and one was the prequels.
Yeah, one was the prequels. So like Angry Birds Epic, that's the RPG one. Like there's just so much, and my kids are still playing Angry Birds to this day. So it has the staying power. It's been there since 2009. And it should be number one. It's the original innovator of the mobile game. And without it, none of these games come with it.
So, can I say something quickly here? Am I allowed to interject? Okay.
Of course.
I'm not denying the importance of Angry Birds. However, does it feel a little bit unfair that when Nathan talks about Angry Birds, he's allowed to bring up every possible iteration of Angry Birds?
We did talk. I mean, Alex's argument was about the staying power. So I think
I know that, like, it sounds now like I have this vendetta against Angry Birds and I'm trying to find holes in Angry Birds' fortitude wherever I can find them. But it's like, I think it, like, you're totally right about like Angry Birds having like a longer staying power, longer effect on the industry and all. But it's like, it feels a little bit unfair towards every single other game on this list where it's like, it's just one game in a series and Angry Birds is like this entire franchise.
I'm just saying that's why it's important. Like, look what it spawned because of what's come from it. And not just like the games that have come out of it, but the entire industry for mobile games.
Alex?
Yeah.
I need you to argue why Fortnite has been a benefit to the mobile games market to a greater extent than Angry Birds.
I think there is a little bit of, like, yes, Fortnite is the most popular game in the world right now. But it has been that for the last 2 years. We can't forget that. This isn't a new thing. Fortnite has been around for a good amount of time at this point. I think that Angry Birds was the introduction of the race to the bottom in the mobile games market, which I think where Fortnite is now residing in because of it. And they're trying to, in a way, pick that up in a lot of senses with like everything that they're doing. Again, like what they're doing, they're going to war with Apple, which is a company that is notorious for saying, fuck you, no, we do it our way. And to have Epic be like, we're going to challenge that. I think we can't yet know how influential that is going to be to the mobile market that has now become the way that it is, starting with Angry Birds being that sort of initial point that led to the race to the bottom that we now see in this industry. I think Fortnite is continuously huge, and it's going to keep being huge, and it's going to be influential not just to mobile gaming, but gaming as a whole.
They're staying the way they are. Sorry, Nathan.
That's a bad call.
You can say that, but it's my list. I'm sorry.
I would,
fine.
yeah, like I don't know where I would have gone if it was me in your shoes. So
It's a tough call either way. Cozy, as you are currently in third place, I need you to argue why one of your games, or you know what, I'm gonna cut you some slack here. You weren't clear on the whole criteria of the game, so
here's the thing. I've been thinking over these past few minutes what I want to argue for, and I really don't know. I feel like I can't make an argument for Fruit Ninja being more important than Fortnite or Pokemon Go, and I can't make an argument for 80 Days or Lara Croft Go being better than anything in the top 5. I also don't want to target Angry Birds again because I feel like Nathan might feel like I have a vendetta against him in general, which I don't want.
Okay, Cozy, I'm going to give you a wild card here because it seems like there was a bit of communication error. If you can give me a game that I think, without any argument, is more important than 80 Days or Lara Croft Go, I will drop one of those games from the list and give you a new game and let you argue it against anything.
Okay. Temple Run.
Sure. I'll say Temple Run's more important to mobile than 80 Days. So, Temple Run. Which of these games do you think is more important? Do you think Temple Run is more important than on mobile?
Problem is that the list is still pretty stacked as is.
It really is.
Well, I'm going to go higher than Candy Crush Saga, honestly. I feel like, and all I'm just going to say on the matter is that I feel like with a game like Temple Run, if you make a run in Temple Run, get it? I feel like there is a lot more that you can do, whereas Candy Crush is a game that I feel is really out to kind of gate you until you pony up some of that sweet, sweet moolah to progress forward into its candy-crusted world. Temple Run is an example of, it's a mobile game, it has a lot of mobile isms, but it's not kind of specifically holding you back, and I do just want to salute it for that.
Nathan?
Yep.
People like to attack your games.
Well, that's because they're going after the best and they're rated too low, honestly.
Well, that regardless of whether or not that's the case, I need you to argue why Candy Crush is important to mobile gaming in more than just a sense of it brought microtransactions to the masses.
Okay. Candy Crush. Really, I want to word this right. Bejeweled created the match 3 puzzle game concept on PC, but it wasn't until Candy Crush on mobile did you really see match 3s start really coming into place. And when people think about match 3 games, they don't think about Bejeweled anymore. They think about Candy Crush Saga. It really kind of they took the core gameplay loop and made some small adjustments, and they added microtransactions for sure. But when you think of that match 3 system, you don't think of Bejeweled anymore. In fact, Bejeweled's a footnote in history at this point. You think about Candy Crush Saga for that reason. So that's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah, and I think there's arguments to be made either way. I'm sorry, Cozy, but again, things are going to stay the same. I wanted to move it, I really did, but Candy Crush was shooting a little high. There was a couple there that it probably could have bumped, but that wasn't one of them. I'm sorry. AJ, to round out round 2, I need you to take one of your games and argue why it is more important than another that is higher on the list.
Okay. Well, listen.
You can do this. I believe in you.
I've never been one to conform to the rules.
Oh, we know it.
Despite me having to follow them. I will speak up.
No, you know what, AJ?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
2 of your 3 games are totally off the board right now.
Mm-hmm.
You can argue any game you want that's on mobile and why it's more important than anything else on this list, and it'll bump that game right off the list. How about that?
We're getting crazy.
We're going nuts here. I'm sorry. I had to.
Well, okay. you've given me a bone here, and I appreciate that.
I'm glad.
But my issue remains that a previous ruling is bullshit. Staying power, because of whatever business reason, does not negate the importance of a game. Parallel Kingdom laid the foundation and the groundwork so that Pokemon Go could be possible. Was the first one on the ground floor, and from that, we got Niantic, who focused on GPS-style games, and then we got Pokemon Go. Without Parallel Kingdom, we would not have gotten Pokemon Go as soon as we did. It is very important for that reason.
Tried to help you.
I know you did.
I really, really did.
Your rules are bullshit sometimes. I hope you know that.
And this is going to be bullshit too. Alex, I don't even want an argument.
I'm just going to say
the way they are.
Okay. Can I argue anyway?
Yeah, sure.
Just because something laid the groundwork doesn't mean it's as important. Pokemon Go was important because of the cultural phenomenon it was. I literally had never heard of Parallel Kingdoms until you mentioned it today.
There.
Like if you brought up Ingress, you'd have an argument. But
sure.
Parallel Kingdom is kind of
even Ghostbusters.
Pokemon Go was important because it was Pokemon. Parallel Kingdom was important because it was a GPS game before GPS games happened.
Correct. But there's a difference there, AJ. One of those is installed on my phone, and the other one I had to Google today. So things are staying the way they are.
It's bullshit. You're bullshit.
For the first time ever in a game of Rankem /5x5, which is what we used to call it, no games moved as part of round 2.
You're bullshit.
So things are exactly the way they were at the end of round 1 with Alex in the lead, Nathan right behind him, Cozy in third, and AJ.
I feel like if there's... Before we go forward, I just want to say, I feel like if there's a message to be discerned from the fact that nothing moved this round, it's the fact that the mobile games market is still pretty new. I feel like if we were debating the most important just video games in general of all time, I feel like a much more interesting and diverse discussion could potentially be had.
There would be like games, 3 Halos on that list.
With mobile games, it's like
45 hours if that were the case.
Yeah, with mobile games though, like things are pretty static because there haven't been a whole lot of games thus far that have been in the medium that have like been influential in the way that these 12 games on this list have been. So
we're going to round 3. Round 3 is the mystery bag. With the mystery bag, you don't know what you're going to get. I'm going to ask you for a number between 1 and 3, and then a number between 1 and 5. Or in some cases 5, in some cases less. And we're going to start with he who leads, and that's Mr. Alex Ballant. So I'm going to need
2 and 4.
You know what? Okay. Yeah, you want 2 and 4?
Whatever you I don't.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you can have 2 and 4. I was going to let you guys have the categories as well.
I don't care.
Okay, 2 and 4. I need you to tell me why Roller Coaster Tycoon 4 on mobile is one of the most important mobile games of all time.
Okay. I think Roller Coaster Tycoon brought a game, Roller Coaster Tycoon 4 specifically, brought a game that was very, the Roller Coaster Tycoon games were very big on PC and brought it to mobile in a way that actually worked. I remember I did play it and I didn't think it was like, I thought it was a good port that it's like, if I was on the subway and I didn't have anything but my phone and I had this game installed, it would be a good time kill. And I think the importance of time wasters in that type of situation is always good. And it goes to show that like games that were once big on other platforms can work on mobile if done correctly.
This game was notoriously bad for its microtransactions and broken for a very long time, right?
Nope, didn't know that.
Because guess what category you picked by saying 2?
Mm-hmm.
Bad mobile games.
Mm.
So for that reason, we're going to put Roller Coaster Tycoon 4 in at number 13.
I just
It ain't
wanted to
making
give
the list.
all of you guys a chance. That's what I was going for.
And we appreciate you for that, and that's why I made you go first.
Before we go any forward, is Hero Wars a potential selection?
The hell is Hero Wars?
Hero Wars is this mobile game. I've never played it myself, but I see ads for it all the time. And based on the ads, I have no clue what kind of game it is. Because like one ad will suggest that it's like a puzzle game where you have to move these like sticks out of the way to.
Oh
get your
yeah,
character
I've seen
gold.
these ads.
But then and there will be another ad, and it will depict a completely different kind of game. And it's like I have no clue what this is.
Well, speaking of ads for games, Cozy, I'm not even going to ask for numbers.
Oh.
I want you to tell me why Raid Shadow Legends is one of the most important mobile games of all time.
Don't fuck this up. We still need to get sponsored by them.
Oh man, let me tell you about Raid Shadow Legends. Are you ready to raid? Are you ready to rage? Then fucking get onto your mobile phone and play some Raid Shadow Legends. You like RPG combat in a fantasy world? You want it on your phone? You want to go mobile? Fucking raid in Raid Shadow Legends. Out now.
Do we have a code for free diamonds for the game if you sign up now?
I love you guys so much.
I've never played Raid Shadow Legends, but based on the commercials, it actually honestly looks not bad. I'd like to try it out at some point. Don't know when.
Well, feel free to do that and check back in with us, but in the meantime, it ain't making the list until they sponsor the show.
I wish I got that one. Holy shit.
You didn't shoot your shot correctly. Nathan, I'm going to give you the categories. Do you want a bad mobile game, one of the most played mobile games, or a gotcha?
One of the most played mobile games.
All right. I'm going to need you. I'm just going to pick it.
Okay.
And you know what? This one's going to be fun because it competes directly with something else on the list. Why is PUBG Mobile one of the most important mobile games of all time?
PUBG Mobile really took what they did well on console and moved it to mobile before Fortnite did. It really is that. Yeah, thanks, AJ. It really is that same game, but boiled down to a mobile control scheme. Now, it's not. I don't believe it's cross-play. That being said, it was a phenomenon on mobile and how well it played. Also, if I am correctly saying this, it is huge in China and the Asian markets. Just because they didn't have access to consoles, so it really picked up there as well. I don't know. I haven't played PUBG Mobile, so it's very important though.
Say that again, Alex.
Didn't it get banned in India? It got banned in a country because everyone was playing it. Like, you get arrested if you were playing PUBG Mobile.
This is from Wikipedia. In March of 2019, Battlegrounds was banned in the Indian state of Gujarat. Not sure if that's pronounced correctly. I apologize if it's incorrect. After the local government decided the game was too addicting and violent and an unnecessary distraction during exam season. A number of students caught playing the game were arrested as a result. The ban was not reviewed in some cities in the state after March as exam season had ended.
Well, that sounds like a pretty important game if they need to ban it so that kids can do well in their studies. I mean, it should be number one. I mean, let's just put it there and just send the arguments now.
I'm going to put PUBG Mobile in just because that was a fun conversation. At number 8.
Talk about that alley-oop.
Putting it in above Fallout Shelter, but below Super Mario Run, because I thought Super Mario Run was actually a very good game. Criminally underplayed.
It was.
It was mostly a good game.
It was worth the what, like
$10? No, it was $13.99 Canadian, I think. I think it was 10 US.
Yeah, I had a good time with it.
All right, AJ,
Hi.
it's your time to shine. I'm going to give you the game. It's the best one I have remaining. And you're going to knock it straight out of the park, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I need you to give me an argument for why this game is one of the most important mobile games of all time. Kim Kardashian Hollywood.
Wow. Kim Kardashian Hollywood is very important, especially to the female gamers out there, as we learned through an article that went around right now that offended a lot of people. But that game in particular, I remember when it first started blowing up, when Kim Kardashian's show was kind of the biggest thing going. The importance can't be understated in that Kim Kardashian had a big ass, and it was very important. And it translated well to mobile devices and was good. And was it a dress-up game? I think it was a dress-up game.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, so big ass, yeah. Nailed it. That's it.
Yeah?
10 out of 10.
Okay.
Nailed it.
Yeah, that was brilliant argument there, AJ. I really appreciated it.
Yeah.
What happened to my list? I'm confused right now. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter. I'm over a column. That's why it's confusing. That's my bad. Suffice it to say, Kim Kardashian Hollywood had a lasting impact on the mobile game space. And I'm totally blowing hot air out of my ass, and it didn't, and it's not making the list.
Well,
wait, is it on the list at 16, or is it just
on
off
the list it's on the list at 16. It comes in below Raid Shadow Legends.
I just want to clarify, because we've had things not make the list at all.
No, it's making
That's
the
an
list at
important
number
distinction.
16. No, I appreciate you keeping me honest there, Nathan. Speaking of keeping me honest, we're at the end of round 3. We have a tie between Alex and Nathan.
shit.
So, I wasn't prepared for a tiebreaker.
We both win.
No, that's no fun. How can two people win? That's not a fun game. You know
Do
what?
we have to run around and pull our tails out?
No, because you would win at that because you're better
What if you
at Fall
gave
Guys
the
than
points
anyone else
in-
here.
What if you gave points in reverse order, 16 for number 1, and then worked your way all the way down? See if that
Because mobile
evens it
gaming
out.
is bad? Yeah, screw it. Who cares? Yeah, let's do that instead.
Well, I feel like
Okay.
AJ
What?
wins.
Oh, he does. He 100% wins in that scenario.
All right. While we're figuring this out, I'm going to read my Raid Shadow Legends. I've never been so much of a mobile gamer, but forget everything you think about mobile games because Raid Shadow Legends is one of the most ambitious RPG projects of 2020. Has just been released and will change everything. Just look at the level of detail of these characters. If you use the code in the description, you can start with 50,000 silver and join special launch tournament. And you better hurry because it's getting big fast. You can play for totally free at the link below on your smartphones. Use code press YYZ for 50,000 silver.
And with that, I reversed the order. What the hell? Okay, I totally screwed up this thing. So I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10. Alex, Nathan, whoever gets the closest wins.
7.
Nathan,
10.
Wait, how are we judging the closest?
I'm going to tell you what the. Carmen knows what my favorite. No, it's closest going over or under. Carmen knows my favorite number. Alex says 7. Nathan, what's your pick?
3.
Carmen, what's my favorite number? What's my favorite number that's under 10?
69.
7 gets it. Alex, congratulations on winning this week's episode of Rank 'em for the most important mobile games of all time. I've been your host, Mitch George. I don't want to do this again anytime soon. So, with that being said, where can we find everyone on the social medias? Our winner, Alex Ballant. Where are you?
You can find me on Instagram at blatantly Alex. That's where you can find my Billy adventures. Twitter, blatantly_Alex, and youtube.com/blatantly Alex. I'll make a video at some point.
Mr. McInerney, where are you on the internet?
I was screwed. Justice for Nathan. You can also find me at _NMac on Twitter and follow me at ps4blog.net where I'm working on reviews currently for Pathfinder, Kinmaker, and Manifold Garden.
Upsy?
You can find me on Twitter at Alex Kazina, and of course you can always head to twitch.tv/KozabearLive to watch some of my private Twitch streams. I'm going to be playing a little bit more of a little game called Apex Legends next. I don't know if
Never
we
heard of
talked
it.
about it on the show. It's real good. You should go check it out. Season 6 is here. People are running rampant, just like Rampant.
You are all
legend.
AJ. You're also on the internet.
I had fixed this list for Nathan so I could give him justice, and it just keeps resetting it back because some asshole keeps going in there. But
AJ,
you know, I
let's wrap
tried,
it up.
Nathan.
AJ,
I appreciate
You can
that.
find me all over the internet at @TimesHero, capital T, capital H.
all right, and you can find me all over the internet at Mr. Mitch George. As Nathan said, I've got some reviews coming up on PS4blog.net as well. One of which should be live by the time this goes live, and I can't talk about it yet. I'll talk about it next week, as well as reviews for a couple other smaller Switch titles that I'm very much looking forward to playing. With that being said, thank you for playing.
Take care, guys.
This game is
Take care.
bullshit.